Hello guys, yejins, welcome to the channel. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you become a part of this amazing YouTube fam. That being said, let's begin with today's video. My first opinion is that I'm not too bothered if a group isn't exactly close. This opinion is inspired by a Reddit post I saw the other day, and honestly, I completely agree, but I'll elaborate. So more or less K-pop is marketed and molded as an industry that's very fan focused, and this is why we have fan signs, various backs during the year, and most of all we have the whole boyfriend girlfriend image that some idols put on. I mean, one of the reasons K-pop has remained so popular for so long is the fact that companies heavily depend on parasocialism and pop fans feeling like they're so close to their idols. I feel like a lot of companies and even idols themselves sell this image that idols are best pals with each other. And honestly, whilst this is the case for groups like BTS, Mamamoo and others, I'm not that bothered. If idols aren't very close, I would even go to say it simply doesn't always inherently matter all the time. I mean, for me, I enjoy pop because of the music, and the great music and idols' personalities are secondary to me. As long as the music slaps and the members enjoy each other's company, then idols don't need to be best friends with each other. Maybe it's because I don't heavily care much about parasocial. Sure, I love pop, and being able to consume so much content about my faves is amazing. And I truly appreciate this aspect of K-pop because I never feel bored at the same time. I don't think it's an issue if idols aren't besties with each other outside of promotions, etc. Sure, K-pop idols live together and share dorms, but that doesn't mean all of them are close. I'm sure some K-pop idols view being K-pop idols as a sole job, and like most jobs, you enjoy being around your co-workers, but you won't hang out with them outside of work. I think for me, I find that pop can be more enjoyable when we realize that although pop is this amazing industry, not every single member is besties with each other. I hope y'all get what I'm trying to say. Hopefully, y'all get what I'm saying, haha. But yeah, I mean, groups like Shinee straight up admitted that they weren't close when they debuted, and you know what, that's okay. Also, with these bullying scandals, it's further validated my statement. The April scandal, the AOA and Minna situation, the list goes on. I feel like music is one of the vital reasons I enjoy listening to pop, and everything else comes secondary. As long as idols do their quote unquote job well, they don't have to be besties with each other. Okay, so my next opinion is that sometimes I specifically avoid Nugu groups. Honestly, I know it sounds bad, but Nugu groups truly go through a lot, and their lack of public support is hard to see. I commended groups like GWSN for having amazing online content, and their music is amazing, but the small fandom and rarely anyone talking about them on online forums is just not for me. I say this most respectably, but yeah, I figured this might be controversial and also unpopular, considering some people specifically like stunning Nugu groups, but I just can't get into it. I'll continue to support lesser known groups, but the difference between a larger group's music and a Nugu group's music is exponential. I mean, take Secret Number's debut for example. Their debut sounded poorly mixed, and quite frankly very bad in comparison to Weekly, a group who debuted around the same time as them. Their debut was a lot more refined. Of course, I am aware one group is from a more established company, but that's the point. I just can't deal with poorly mixed music, and it seems like some Nugu groups fall victim to this. Of course, this isn't their fault, but essentially getting into Nugu groups is always a bit hesitant for me. Okay, the next opinion is that Cube is going downhill. Okay, hear me out. JYP Entertainment is solidly a mid-tier company who was even rivaling the big three during the second gen, so they're experimental. However, I feel like they've been going on a downward spiral. That's not to say the company is suddenly poor or unknown, but ever since the third gen their groups haven't been doing too great. I genuinely believe this comes down to poor management, and this is why good management, unless you're under the big three, is so important. Jiddle and Top etc are some the only groups who are doing decently at the moment. CLC isn't doing great and Pentagon is doing okay. I suppose I honestly had high expectations for Lightsum's debut, especially since their lineup sounded jam-packed, especially with Chaeun from Produce 48 being in the gore-up and many of the other members having survival show experience. But in all honesty, their debut was a major disappointment. Of course, Lightsum has just debuted, so I'll be on the lookout for their future releases. But Vanilla was probably the blandest and most vanilla, no pun intended, debut song I've heard in a while. I like debuts that are personable, exciting, and come with a bit of a bang. Vanilla was the opposite of all those adjectives. The song blandest probably is down to the fact that Cube hasn't got a clue what type of concept Lightsome is going for. Part of the song was very cute. In fact, I initially thought their debut would be cutesy, but the chorus and the choreography is more hard hitting and girl crushy. Considering Lightsome has been in the works for a few years, the music concept and the music was really not my taste. I hope their future releases are a lot better. Because their main dancer Juhyun is absolutely electric on stage and they need to utilize her well. Believe Cube groups thrive when the members self-produce, and part of JYP's success, if they're self-producing, it's also part of their brand. Pentagon is also self-producing, etc. I hope for Lightsome's sake they learn to self-produce real damn fast, because CLC is a prime example of bad luck. However, I wouldn't be surprised if some of their lack of success could come down to the members not self-producing, of course. If the members had no interest, that would have been fine, but I starting to believe that if any Cube idol wants to thrive and stay popular in the industry, they need to self-produce. Next up is a controversial take, so y'all get ready. Okay, so Aespa released Next Level, and even 1 month later I'm still not into the song. It seemed like they had a very negative reaction when it was released, and the negative reaction has mellowed down, but quite frankly the song is still subpar. If I could grade Next Level, it would be given a B grade. It's not amazing, but it's no horrible, and there's plenty of better pop songs released out there. The Next Level was just poorly disjointed and majorly disappointing. The first comeback, when it was first released, I was literally at shock that this is what SM gave the group. You would think with no mini album or B-sides they would do better. Also, another take, the whole Blackpink-esque inspired promotion style they're doing for Aespa is just not working for them. It seems as if SM has adopted YG's whole quality over quantity shtick, but it only worked for Blackpink because it's part of their brand at this point. Plus this is a staple thing at YG for their groups to have a very minimal amount of songs, so at this point it's not surprising that most YG groups barely release songs. However, for Aespa, in my opinion, this strategy just isn't working for them. Aespa are an 8-month-old rookie group, yet I barely know anything about them. To make matters worse, it's not like their music can talk for itself. I mean, they've released 3 songs and none of them I've liked particularly very much. At this point SM needs to allow them to do more online content, because Enhypen and Stasy debuted in the same month as Aespa, yet Enhypen has released many vlives online content, fan signs etc, and I'm enjoying their content and dynamics. Stasy has released many dance covers and vlives etc, not to mention they have more songs than Aespa. The point is, if SM are going to go with the whole barely any content stick, is just unappealing to me as a non-fan. There's no excuse anymore. If groups their same age are surpassing their music releases and realizing engaging and interesting content, I honestly want to like Aespa, but their lack of content is such a shame, and all the lack of content makes them uninteresting. And you can't tell me SM can't allow the members to go on live, or allow the members to post more online content aside from the odd behind the scenes video. Aespa music isn't my cup of tea, but their lack of content is so baffling to me. Rookies their age are releasing far more content, and if anything their lack of content makes them uninteresting as a consumer. Okay, my next unpopular opinion is that Net is a snake and survival shows are horrible, but I would be lying if I said I don't enjoy these types of shows. Part of me does feel bad due to the rigging and unfairness on these shows, but they are entertaining, and unfortunately I probably will be tuning into Planet Girls 999. I like the fact that idols from failed groups and young and passionate trainees can all end up in the same loop. CLC's Yejin is set to go on the show, and I can't help but root for her, and I hope she goes far on the show. These types of shows are inherently problematic, but they are interesting. I see a few people saying they won't be supporting any more net shows, and that's completely valid, but some of the things we consume aren't inherently ethical. At the end of the day, this survival shows sure are entertaining, and I'll admit with Cherry Bullet being in the lineup interests me. Okay, so my last opinion is that IZ*ONE is never getting back together. Yes, cue that Taylor song. But I digress. Recently it seems as if some fans are thinking IZ*ONE actually has a chance of getting back together. I've seen the plethoras of money they've raised so that IZ*ONE can become a group again, and I'm just gobsmacked really. Some fans are beyond delusional, and this is why I firmly believe some fans shouldn't stone produce groups. I was never a IZ*ONE fan, but even I knew they would disband, and even 2 months later I'm okay with their disbandment. They had some great tunes and great chemistry. Why do some fans have to mess it up with Their entitlement, my opinion, is that IZ*ONE is never getting back together, and some fans of produced groups can be so utterly delusional. I understand wanting them to stay as a group, but honestly, this ain't it. Fans will only end up more heartbroken and disappointed than anything else, and all that money they've raised could have gone to a local charity or something. It's so mind-boggling, and I'm sorry, but IZ*ONE was always going to be temporary. They've created a great legacy for themselves, but it's selfish and entitled to expect them to get together again when IZ*ONE purpose was to create popularity for the members in their actual groups. IZ*ONE is no different from IOI or 101. In fact, 101 never got any contract re-signing, even though they were one of the most popular third gen boy groups. It's so disrespectful for the rigged members like Chowan and Gorn to see the group they should have debuted in potentially getting back together. It's like a slap in the face, and maybe some of these selfish fans should think about those two who never had the opportunity to be a part of the success IZ*ONE had. At the end of the day, IZ*ONE is a produced group, and from day dot fans they were temporary. Instead of whining, fans should use their plethora of money they've used on aimless projects and instead put that into supporting the IZ*ONE members' future projects and groups. Imagine being so delusional into thinking a group is going to continue when they were always going to disband. Okay, so I did say that would be my last opinion, but I do also want to say JYP was never a great company, and most fans that believe this was either young or incredibly naive. JYP is a company, and every company gets money by being inherently capitalist and problematic. The whole "all my idols are good people" and him having importance on good personality is a marketing ploy to allow fans to feel more invested and interested in getting into their groups in the company. I definitely think JYP appreciates his idols with a good personality, but the company definitely plays it up. It's like when jobs hire a new employee and say you're part of the family now. Most of the time they could care less about you, especially big corporate jobs like Amazon or somewhere. They can easily replace you with another employee in mere minutes, or you see people work in jobs for decades barely taking time off from work and dedicating their time to their work only for them to be replaced with someone younger and some who's been in the company for far less time. Jobs are saying to their families you're part of a family because they want you to stay at the job and fit into the capitalist society. Like a Billy Miller, as problematic as she is, has said everyone is replaceable, and companies and jobs see idols like that too with some expectations. So yeah, I was shocked when fans were shocked to see that. Like any company, JYP has some bad apples like J-Park and Woojin. It's kinda like with YG, when everyone believed they were this cool swag company, and suddenly, especially in Korea, the whole Seungri thing happens and suddenly people look at YG with a disapproving eye. It's only now in 2021 that their reputation is beginning to get better. The point is, JYP whole "my idols are good people" motto is true to some extent, but it's also a marketing ploy, and it's better to view companies as a business rather than them being wholesome and good. Sure, some companies are genuinely better than others, but companies want money, and what better way to do that than by marketing your idols as wholesome people, when really they're doing this is market fans and lure more people to stand their groups. Also, it differentiates JYP idols from SM idols, who with the Irene thing have shown that they don't have as much priority on making sure their idols are respectful of their clients. Alrighty, then I think wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your opinions on my own opinions. I helped them. They were unpopular, and hopefully this video was interesting to watch. Have a nice day, morning or afternoon. I love y'all very much. Okay then, bye yejins. Mwah.